With us is our resident expert. Actually, he's a nationally or internationally known expert on omega 3s and SPMs. Been working with Nutritional Frontiers for many years now. Good friend and colleague, Mr. Todd Parker, all the way from Newport Beach, California. Is that right, Todd? Newport?
Laguna Beach.
Laguna. Sorry. Okay. Even better. Even better.
I think so.
Okay. Well, I'm
That's
here
one
with
of our
Zach.
beaches back here behind me.
Okay. Yeah, that's real nice, Todd. Thanks. So yeah. So here with Zach Dorley, of course, our director of product development, who works very closely with Todd Parker, and they had I'm sure, some great conversations out at the Supply Side West. So, Todd, what do you got for us today?
Well, I think the most interesting conversation I've had in quite a while occurred 2 days ago on Wednesday. I attended a discussion with Dr. Jeff Bland, who's a friend of all of ours.
Mm-hmm.
And he brought to light something that I think is rather monumental. And that's basically the shift that's occurred federally in basically the guidelines for the health of the population. I won't take too long with this, but I believe it was about 1974 when the first document came out. It was signed by people like Bob Dole and sort of luminaries at the time from agricultural states. And it was the first, I can't remember what this one's called, I apologize, the first one in 74. But it was a document that basically addressed the most effective way to promote the health of the population. And in that document, they indicated that reducing fat would be a good idea, is one of the main components. Now, in this very year of our Lord, 2022, I believe it was September, so relatively recently, a couple months ago.
Breaking news. Good.
A new document was released, and it's called the House Conference on Hunger, Nutrition, and Health, a New National Strategy. And this document is pretty remarkable because they emphasize the concept of food as medicine. Sound familiar?
Yes, it sure does.
I mean, this is something this is what we do.
Yes, we
food
do.
is medicine. We don't go out and tell people, just to take our supplements and not make any other changes. The supplements are in addition to the healthy lifestyle choices. And the way that this is going to play out, I believe, or the objective of this document is to promote dietary education in medical school, to elevate the role of nutritionists, to make food and healthy lifestyle kind of, the front end of the therapeutic approach. It includes conversations about food deserts, where people aren't able to access fresh fruit and how we can approach that. But it's really shifting everything towards a more wholesome diet. And there is language in there that sort of demonizes or what have you, fats, saying how that polyunsaturated fats really play an incredibly important role in people's health. But it's a sea change. And so the products that you're selling and that your doctors are prescribing to the patients are essentially, they fall under the dietary, under DOSHA, the dietary, laws. So that they're analogous to food. And if you look at the products that we're selling, like take the omega-3 products, for example, you're taking the fat from fish and making it available to people, and they're going to get health benefits. Your green products, your protein products. I mean, everything is basically things that are occurring in nature and then just sort of occasionally reformatting them. So I think that this document, bodes well for everybody and is a real endorsement for what all of us have been doing for these me for the last 30 years. Joe, you probably about the same. Zach, you probably in the industry for about 10 years working with the family business. But anyway, I'm going to send you guys a copy of this document.
Oh, I was just going to ask you that. Great.
Yeah, I'll send it as soon as we're done. Read it over. It got some press, but it got press more in different contexts. Like the press didn't really cut to the issue here that there's really a major shift nationally in how to approach public health. and putting food and diet and exercise front and center over pharmacological, approaches to public health. So it's quite extraordinary.
So this document, where was it released, and who sees it, and how will the far-ranging impact of it, in what steps do you think that'll take place?
Well, it's I don't know exactly. I'm not an expert on public health policy, but usually these type of documents, like President Biden mentioned it when it was released, it got a fair amount of press. It gets pushed down into the medical schools, into the AMA, the American Medical Association. It becomes a document that becomes like something that we strive for collectively, and it makes the case of why that is. And the case is that if people were to eat, really healthy food and get some sleep and get a little exercise, we could save. They estimate in here it's an astounding number. We're talking into the trillions of the amount of money that would be saved if people just made slight tweaks to their, sure, you can have a Big Mac once in a while, but if you're having one every day and, and you're eating saturated fat and you're doing big gulps on a regular basis and et cetera, we all know the primary culprits, but
right.
So, and people need, and the idea is that, sadly, people need support and guidance to shift towards a healthier lifestyle. And it's almost like, quitting bad habits and addictions. People need to slowly but surely set targets. Okay, I used to have no vegetables a day. Now I'm going to have 2 servings. And then after a month, and then being shown how these, how healthy foods can be prepared in a way that is delicious, and then once people start to feel how they feel different, a lot of parameters of their body and their functions and everything start to change. And so it's going to be exciting to watch, but it's just extraordinary. And I hope you'll share this document with your customers.
Because, there's no doubt. There's no doubt we will. Yes,
it's a earth shift that should come out of this. But
it's interesting because the first dietary supplement that was embraced by the allopathic industry was fish oil, and I mean really embraced, and to the point where they had to make their own, right, and sell it as a drug.
True.
But that was the first. So it's good to see that this is going to expand. I would love to see actual courses filtering in to the medical degrees. That would be awesome. I don't know how long that will take, but it's got to start somewhere. It's got to start somewhere. Todd, the conferences like the one you were at was primarily product and ingredient focused, but many of the ones that we attend over the last 20 years were educational events for physicians because they don't get it in medical school. So if we can start to switch that balance a little bit and get that education right in the schools, that would be a major, major step forward in my eyes.
Oh, absolutely. And, let's just go back. I mean, I mentioned we're talking trillions of dollars in savings, but, it's also important to, think in the context of all the lives that can be transformed. I mean, I've never had to live with a chronic disease. I don't think you gentlemen have either. I've had a little bit of eczema my whole life. That's about it, which, with the right diet and hypoallergenic products can be managed. But a lot of people, they inflict chronic disease on themselves. And, and the pharmaceuticals are part of the step. But if you don't handle the underlying issues that we all know about, people are not going to pull out of that chronic decline. They're going to carry on and probably have an early morbidity. And it's just so wonderful to see the highest echelons of science now embracing and I don't mean to boast or anything, but what we've been talking about for a long time.
Right. Boast. Yes. Boast. It is what we've been talking about. And for that to happen, especially at this stage, after what's happened the last 3 years, I think it's incredible. So, we've gone I mean, it's a standard product for us, right? Omegas are part of the baseline; they have to be. But over the last year or so, year and a half, when we first brought in SPM, it changed. It changed the playing field. It absolutely changed it, and it's the next level, of omega-3 therapeutics. So, they're getting into that stage, the elementary stage. We're already up at post grad, for these products, but it's a good start. It's a good start, and I got to tell you, we've had so many strong testimonials on the SPM. And we've had doctors like Dr. Len Bransowitz that are using it effectively and successfully, and Dr. Bob Rakowski, who did a workshop earlier this week. And, I don't know if we shared this with you last time, Todd, but his protocol is sometimes 1 SPM an hour for every waking hour for the saturation dose for some of his patients to get that systemic inflammation under control. Have you heard of that at all anywhere else?
I haven't, but I will say that Bob Rakowski is someone that I deeply respect and that I've known for a long time, and he's always he's quite often on the cutting edge, and
Oh yeah.
he's not afraid to experiment within safe parameters. So you, you, to, someone we both know, I won't use his name. I asked him at one point. I said, "If you had cancer, who would you see?" And he said Bob Rakowski. And this is a man who knows people in the Mayo Clinic and, from the highest echelons of the scientific community. So, I mean, higher praise you can't give. And I know Dr. Rakowski's got a big clinic. He sees a lot of people, so if he's touting these results, I wouldn't take it with a grain of salt, and it just goes to show that the SPMs are a tool that can be extremely effective for a certain type of patient out there. The people who are really in the extreme throes of some sort of inflammatory process in their body.
Yes.
So it makes sense. I mean,
it sure does.
the way that the absorption occurs in the body, you take the fat in, the fats are given preferential treatment on, like if you go to the club, the fats are the good looking girls that get to go right in. Sorry if I'm I don't know if you can say these things anymore, but and then so to have a steady flow of resolving mediators coming into the body when we know that they're working in different areas of the body, and we know that these pre-resolving mediators that we're supplying can be converted to all sorts of downstream anti-inflammatory mediators. To having a steady flow of them in the body throughout the day, it doesn't sound far-fetched at all. It sounds quite reasonable.
So you and Zach have been working on a new product. Zach, you want to give us a little preview?
Yeah, we are patiently waiting. Hopefully by February, we'll have the new liquid SPM, which to my knowledge is the first ever on the market. Correct?
Yes, absolutely.
First ever on the market.
Yep.
I mean, the crowd needs to go wild on that one. The first ever on the market. We're not talking the first in our industry. We're talking the first ever on the market.
And quite frankly, not to make excuses, but that somewhat explains the delays that we've had. This is a product first, and to work with blending the high PRM material with the fish oil and getting the flavoring right, and looking at this, making sure the stability is there and everything. It just took a little bit longer, but some things are worth waiting for, and I believe this will be. And I feel 98% confident that we'll have it to you in your warehouse in February.
Oh boy. Now that's a launch that we have to really build up. I mean, you and Zach have been working on this. Kudos to you guys for doing this. And actually, it's not a delay because it's never been made before. All right. This is just part of the process of bringing something new to the market. But, where are we right now in that process? Taste samples? Where are we with that?
I don't think we've gotten you the taste samples yet, but those are
okay.
Those are coming together,
Okay.
and I think you're really going to like it. We've really put a lot of thought, and we've hired panels, organoleptic organoleptic specialist to make sure that we get this right.
Oh.
So I've tasted
God.
I've tasted similar flavoring profiles for other products.
Uh-huh.
We've made the not high SPM because that's a little bit different animal, so you have to treat it as its own. But
Okay.
I think your clients and their patients, most importantly, are going to really be pleased with this. It's very, very palatable, and I believe we should have the flavor. Well, I'll let you know, but I'm confident that they'll be shipping out of San Diego next week.
Oh, okay, great. So as far as dosing and servings per bottle and all that, has that already been worked out, Zach?
Oh yeah, so it's 30 serving bottle.
Okay.
I believe it's each milliliter.
Each 5 ml, is 400
5 ml.
micrograms. So a teaspoon.
Will it have a dropper, or is it a teaspoon?
It's teaspoon. Yeah,
Teaspoon?
sorry, Zach.
Okay.
The teaspoon will be equivalent to 2 of your soft gels.
Okay.
As far as
Perfect.
therapeutic dosage, yeah.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that is there. That's really great. Incredible. Todd, I think you're going to have to come to Pittsburgh to launch this. Get out of that warm weather in February and come to Pittsburgh.
Well, let's. As soon as you said February and Pittsburgh in the same sentence, you had me until you said February and Pittsburgh in the same sentence. And I was like,
I know. Yeah.
Actually, I was going through my wardrobe the other day, and I do have a really, really thick, warm jacket. So that I never used, obviously, living in Southern California. So maybe we could do that, Joe. We'll talk.
Yeah, we won't make you walk anywhere, Todd. Don't worry. We'll just getting in and out of the car. That's all you'll have to do. Yeah,
I can do that.
Okay, great. And another thing, there's a lot of possibilities here because we've got some major events coming up. We've got an event this spring coming up that we're going to do in Tampa, a professional training event. I mean, I would love to, really launch it big at one of those as well. I'm sure if we get it in here in February, start selling it, my God, I mean, we may be on our second order by April, but I know it's going to move. It's going to move fast. Price points, are they going to be in line with what we have now?
Yep. It's very similar to the 60 count bottle we currently have, and it'll be great. Put it in a shake.
Yeah.
Great for children's, pets.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
It's just
delivery system for a lot of different applications.
For a lot of applications. Wow.
I mean, imagine those people, that will be on the Rakowski protocol, and now they can just, take a half a teaspoon, every few hours. So what have you.
Oh my God, yeah.
Some people, swallowing those big soft gels, it's a challenge for them. So this will improve compliance in that situation for sure.
Wow, that's great. This is going to be amazing, and we're really looking forward to it. We've loved this formulation. You guys have done an amazing job on it, and it just beats the pants off of everything else out there. But I use it religiously. It's part of my protocol regimen. Some days I use a little less, some days a little more. Depends on, how stiff you feel getting out of bed. And sometimes you don't feel stiff when you're on the SPMs at all. So, I mean, it's great. It's such a great, versatile product, right? It can be therapeutic. It can be preventative. It can be ongoing because, as you said earlier, Todd, there's no one walking around that doesn't have some degree of systemic inflammation.
Yeah, you were mentioning earlier that the response from your clients after using this product on their patients has been pretty extraordinary, and I hear that across the board. I hear it from you folks. I hear it from other people that I'm involved with resolving mediators. As I said earlier, I've been doing this for about 30 years, and I don't think I've ever witnessed a product introduction that has had the clinical feedback that's been so robust and essentially overwhelmingly positive as this. So, the science is there of how these compounds, these resolving mediators, interact with white blood cells to calm inflammation. We know how they are derived from EPA, DPA, and DHA. We know that our intermediate compounds will get converted, are part of the process. But I think you call it, I forgot the name of the term, but it's when you just look at the whole totality of the experience that people have with these, and I've never seen anything so overwhelmingly positive. In some cases, it almost starts to swerve into the realm of seeming a bit miraculous, some of the effects that it's having on people.
It does.
It's satisfying for all of us.
Now that brings up a good point. And yeah, what are you seeing even better clinical results if you combine it with, say, omega-3D? Does that improve the overall performance of the mediators?
I don't really want to go out on any limb on that because I'm not entirely sure. I'm a big believer in the people that I've learned from in my career are all believers in high levels of polyunsaturated fatty acids in the diet and the benefits of healthy fats. So I don't think you can ever, my answer would be you can never do harm by combining them. So let's just take that out of the equation. Whether any particular individual out there is going to get a more robust response, I'm not really sure. But if you step back and look at the science, if someone their cells are low in omega-3, and you give EPA and DHA and DPA, as you have in your products, fortunately, to increase the cellular level, and then you're also providing the SPMs to accentuate that pathway of supporting resolving mediator formation. It seems to me to be sound scientifically, but not exactly sure how to answer that question. Just no harm can be done, so why not?
No, that's okay. No, it can't. No, and as you said before, I think you said on the last presentation at the last Wellness Week that in a perfect world, we would, if we were consuming enough omega-3, EPA, DHA, DPA, then we would be making these resolving mediators and handling a lot of the inflammation. But of course, we're so deficient in EPA, DHA. And on that note, would you also explain a little bit about DPA?
Yeah, DPA is a long-chain polyunsaturated fatty acid, which we call omega-3 fats. And it's situated in length between EPA and DHA, the carbon chain. There is some research specifically on DPA, but it doesn't have as much research as EPA and DHA. And the reason is when Jorn Dyerberg, Dr. Dyerberg, did his field work in Greenland in the early 70s, he was the Inuits, or the First Nation people, whatever you want to call them these days. He had an extremely high fat diet, and they were getting a lot of EPA, DHA, and DPA in their diet. Well, in Norway at the time, they were making margarine from anchovy oil. Believe it or not, hydrogenated anchovies was margarine. I don't see how that could ever work, but apparently it did.
What a waste of a good anchovy. Okay.
Yeah, in retrospect, but anchovies are actually considerably lower than a lot of the fish that we eat in DPA. So when they evaluated, the anchovies and the material that they were using to make supplements at the time when they first started making omega-3 supplements, there wasn't much DPA, so they didn't really think much about it. But then in more recent years, they've looked at DPA and they say, hey, DPA also has its own. DPA has its own downstream resolving mediator compounds, and it gets incorporated into cell membrane as well. So it plays a role physiologically, and so to have a little bit of it in an omega-3 supplement to me seems prudent. A lot of people call it the missing omega-3 just because it got forgotten because it wasn't in anchovies, but it's in higher levels in cod. It's in higher levels in, I believe, tuna. I mean, we're not talking about, radical differences in the levels, but significant. Because some nutritional factors, you don't need 3 or 4 cups of it. You just need, a few milligrams, and it'll have a physiological effect.
Is that going to be in our supplement facts as well? The DPA concentration?
I don't think it will be on your liquid, but it is in your soft gel, correct?
It is on the soft gel, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's another differentiator that, you don't see on, these store-bought omega-3s. And Jamie and I did a couple of workshops on that this week, on the differences. And it's astounding how far apart they are in quality, between what we have here and what you're going to find on a consumer shelf, any consumer shelf for that matter,
Well,
except for ours.
yeah. Well, I'd like to make a quick comment about that. All your products are made in Norwegian and German pharmaceutically licensed facilities. You're not competing. You're not trying to go out and compete on price. You're competing on quality, and you can't beat German and pharmaceutical and German and Norwegian pharmaceutical grade. You just can't. There's no better material in the world. There's no better material that's just redundantly tested for safety. And your material is tested for over 450 potential environmental toxins. Not a lot of people can say that. You know for sure that your product's clean and safe and it has all the actives they're listed on it. If you go on the shelves of the big box retailers, where do you think they're getting their omega-3 from? Because they're competing on price. So they're buying from China, 9 times out of 10. And in China, they don't even have close to the quality control that they have in Europe, particularly Germany and Norway. I mean, these are societies that are, meticulous in the way that they approach things. And that's where your products are made. And people need to know that. I mean, you're putting these supplements you're putting in your mouth literally become part of your body. I want my body to be made in Germany.
They make good cars. Zach, have you been able to tour that facility yet?
Not yet, but
is that on the plan?
That is on the list to head out there. And
well, that's what we need. Zach to come out to California in February. That makes a heck of a lot more sense.
Oh, okay. Then you come into Pittsburgh, you mean?
No, I'll meet you in Tampa in April.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I'll do whatever you guys need.
Yeah, that'll work. Okay. So the products being made in those facilities, and then what is it, bottled here, or is it bottled there as well?
But it's put into soft gels here, and it's the bulk oil comes in from Europe, including the SPMs that comes from Germany.
Okay.
German pharmaceutical.
Okay.
And then we put it in soft gels here, or we bottle it here. We have a brand new bottling line that we've just put in Carlsbad, California, about an hour that way. And we're really proud of it. And it did take a little bit of time to fine tune everything, but it's completely anaerobic. Oxygen is never introduced into the equation.
Oh, that's
we're gonna have pour spouts in the bottle for you, so you don't get any, clumping of oil or in the thread of the bottle. It's first.
Are you talking about the SPM liquid now, or the omegas? Okay,
the SPM liquid.
Okay,
so good. It's first class. It's as good as it gets, from top to bottom.
Well, we would expect nothing less. Absolutely expect nothing less. Oh, we're getting a shot here. Here we go. All right. So Todd, that was some amazing news you opened up this workshop with. We love that. Make sure you do send us that document. And I just want to make sure we give kudos to you and Zach. This is monumental, bringing in a first to market product of this magnitude, and not to the industry, but to the market, not to the professional industry, the whole damn market. You know what? This
feels kind of good, doesn't it?
It is. I can't wait. We are extremely excited. So, any parting shots for us?
No, just keep up the good work, and I'm really going to press, and we're going to get that product to you.
All right.
Please do share this house conference on hunger, nutrition, and health with your people. Hopefully, it'll put a little wind in everybody's sail to see that we've been ahead of the curve, but we need to be very gracious about the fact that the scientific community is catching up with us.
Yeah, you're going to have a tough time beating this one, Zach. I don't know what you're going to come up with next. But this one's going to be tough to beat. So, Todd, thank you so much. I know it's early out there, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Todd Parker, everybody, our expert, our international expert on omega-3s and SPMs. So thanks, Todd. We always appreciate you coming on board.
Thank you, gentlemen. Talk to you next time.
All right.
Thank you.